It's kind of like the fish that got away. I don't normally do talking head videos. I normally, well, it might be a little talking head in the corner, but I've got a presentation or a browser, and I'm doing some producty stuff in it. And this is just the talking head, and I just did it. And like the fish that got away, it was great. Honestly, it was. I didn't flub. Well, I flubbed once, but it's like 8 minutes long. But anyway, here we go. Take two, and hopefully this is it. Um, what I'm recording here is a discussion topic that I intend to introduce at a dinner. We are hosting a dinner for business leaders down in South Africa. We have some fantastic people coming to it. About 15 senior IT executives responsible primarily for end user computing and endpoint management and AI inside some of the most prestigious enterprises in South Africa. So looking forward to that. And I'm sort of standing up for 10 minutes or so, it'll be less, I'd say, before dinner to propose a topic for discussion over dinner. And essentially, this is it. And here in this format, I hope it might get some cogs whirring inside your head, give you some topics to discuss with others, and spark some conversations. So I think a lot of us realize we're living through one of the most important technology transitions of our careers. I've been knocking around since before this HTTP protocol was a thing. And in my professional career of over 30 years, I've lived through client server and the growth of the internet, mobile technology, cloud, virtualization, digital transformation. And I'll make a few bold statements over the next 6 or 7 minutes. And the first one is that I think digital transformation is over. Not because it failed, but because it succeeded. It's like Y2K. It's done, right? We're there. Banks are digital, insurance companies are digital, retail is digital, manufacturing is digital. I live in southern Spain, and there's a lot of agricultural businesses around here, and they're all digital too. They work using software and data and sensors and networks and automation. We spent 20 years transforming pretty much every business into a digital business, and we're there. We did it. Well done. Okay, but we arrived. Digital transformation isn't the future, it's the past, it's the baseline, it's table stakes. Nobody is going to get competitive advantage by saying they have a website or an app or a cloud strategy or a digital channel. That's the baseline. Everybody has all of those things. So if digital transformation was the last chapter, I think we know what the next chapter is, right? It's AI. It's the era of autonomous business, not just digital business. Business where software doesn't help humans make decisions, but where it actually makes decisions itself, where it observes, analyzes, predicts, and acts, where it purchases things, negotiates prices, enters into contracts on behalf of your business. And not just generating reports or dashboards, but taking real action, writing code, drafting policies, managing supply chains. So for those of us who are in IT leadership, this has big implications. For years, our role was focused around managing technology, the device, the application, the network, the security, the infrastructure. But more and more, we're becoming now the managers of these autonomous systems. We're managing digital workers, and that's a fundamentally different change. So if you take endpoint management as an example, an area near and dear to my heart and to TeamViewer's heart, historically IT was reactive. A user had a problem, they raised the ticket and someone investigated and hopefully fixed it. And if it happened to a different user again tomorrow, the process started all over again. We went from that reactive model to a proactive model where we had where we had fixes in place to remediate known issues as they occurred, and that's great. But now with AI and with autonomous endpoint management, something that TeamViewer is really leading the way with, we're moving towards a predictive model where we're looking at telemetry and other data to identify problems that users haven't yet reported that will annoy users and will cause them to log tickets if we don't fix them before that gets to that state. And that's what we're doing now. We're identifying these problems and recommending remediations and creating automations that will fix the problems before the users suffer the problem. So that's autonomous endpoint management. It's a way of thinking and a philosophy almost. It's a recognition that IT can't continue to scale through just throwing additional humans at the problem. Business demand is going to grow faster than headcount can. So the only scalable answer is autonomy. But, and this is the crux of it, I don't think managing devices is the biggest challenge facing IT leaders anymore. It's managing AI. It's not just us who get to use AI. It's every single department. It's marketing and sales and legal and finance and operations and HR. People are solving problems with AI. They're writing code and analyzing data, creating content, building automations, integrating systems, and like I said, even making purchasing decisions where the AI is making that decision. So, what we need to do now is implement governance at a pace that facilitates businesses using AI. There is no debate about whether our employees should use AI. The market has spoken. Shareholders have, brought it to the attention of the board of directors that if you don't use AI, you're going to get left behind. So the board is pushing it down to the vice presidents and VPs are pushing it to the directors who are pushing it to the managers who are pushing it to the employees. And the question is, why aren't you using more AI? So what we need to also question is which AI systems are being used and which ones are approved, which ones create risk for us, which ones create value for us, which ones are an unnecessary cost, which ones are duplicating effort that might also be happening elsewhere in the business, potentially with different AI tools. How do we scale the good and control the bad? And these are board level questions, not just IT questions, but we have a critical role to identify and not block AI, but enable the business to make safe, visible, governed, and scalable use of AI. And the people who do that will be enabling the autonomous enterprise and the autonomous business and the autonomous contact center, autonomous operations team, autonomous finance department, the autonomous IT organization. And this isn't about replacing people, it's about augmenting them, right? So will AI take your job? No, but somebody else who uses AI better than you do might. I think a more interesting question is what happens when every employee has a team of AI agents working for them? When every analyst has 10 analysts and every developer has 10 developers and every service desk engineer has 10 assistants, what happens then to productivity? What happens to organizational structures? What happens to leadership and governance? What happens to the value that we create and they create? And what happens to the organizations that don't adapt to this model? I think that's kind of obvious. So the next decade is going to be remembered in the same way that we remember the transformative rise of the internet. This is a defining shift, a once-in-a-generation transition. Not because AI is another tool, but because AI is another workforce. Digital transformation taught organizations how to run on software. The next decade will teach organizations how to run with autonomous systems and become autonomous businesses. The winners won't be the companies with the most AI. They'll be the companies that learn how to govern it and trust it and scale with it safely. And that's what I'll be asking people to discuss. So think, discuss, add comments, tell us what you think, and maybe after I'm back from South Africa, I'll create a summary of how that discussion went and share that here as well. So this is my first real talking head video, talking head out. I hope you found this useful. Thanks for listening.